You're kidding, really?
Yeah.
Wow, man, you guys took the best preservatives then, um,
These
back
people
in
are
the
good,
day.
man.
Wow. Listen, so the bio is incredible, but the most impressive part for me was the playing drums part.
Oh yeah.
Do
Oh,
you
you'll
still?
dig this, man. I was the I tried out. I was hired in a reggae band, and we used to.
No.
Oh yeah, we used to open for Bunny Whale and the Whalers, Bunny Marley and the Whalers. It was called
No
Eagle
way.
Hour. I was a trained musician, and they tried out all kinds of drummers. I was the only cracker they tried, and I could read music, and nobody else could play. And I go, what's the one drop?
Right.
Go, blood clot. Let me give you some. I said, give me your music, man. Just let me look at it. So I took it all home that night, listened to it. I go, man, it's on the three. I know what that is. I play
Yeah.
jazz and all that
Yeah.
stuff. So, I came back and I was playing. And they go, and I had hair down to here, man. It was curly, and I looked like an albino Polynesian. And they're going, wow. They put it up in a reggae head. They go, dude, let's like make it into dreads. I go,
Right.
no,
Yeah. No, man, that's incredible because um so do you know who Alex Acuna
oh,
is?
sure, absolutely.
Okay. Would you believe that I get to jam with him
Oh, come on,
at the
that's awesome.
I get to jam with him at the Innisano Academy?
Yeah, he was at PIT and all that.
Yeah. So the
Oh, he's
first
over at Los Santos place playing sometimes?
yes,
Oh, that's
he's I think he's been I think he's a black belt in because Sifu Dan
really? Oh, he looks like
gives
he's strong man looking, strong
yeah,
looking.
Sifu Dan gives them belt ranks in the Filipino martial arts,
Sure.
right? Not in anything else. So we were there. Ron and I were there
Baliki.
in June. No, Ron Goldstein,
Oh, Goldstein.
right? Yeah, we were there in June, I think it was, right? And and I don't know if you've been to the Innisano Academy recently, but there's a
Not
ton
recently, no.
of percussion equipment
Yeah, I saw
up
that.
front,
Yeah,
right? A ton.
I want half of them.
So I know, me too, right? So I sit down and I'm playing because the people will play. You get there and people will play like before class starts.
Wow, okay,
Sometimes they'll play it during class and then after class and what have you.
right.
Jam sessions all the time, all the time.
That's fun.
So I sit down and I'm playing, and then Alex Acuna comes in, and then I see this kid, right, this younger kid, and he's wearing a blue belt. So I'm like, okay, so he's a beginner, right? He doesn't know what's up. But when he starts playing, I'm like, holy crap, this is no beginner. Turns out it's a guy named Yaro Zambrano. He plays for Stevie Wonder.
Ah, yeah, you're gonna dig this, man. I used to play percussion with Lou Rawls and Jose Feliciano, and they used to come over where I was painting all the boards out front of Tower Records on Sunset Boulevard for 15 years or more.
Right.
All the
Yeah.
giant boards out front. The newest albums come out, so I meet with the record execs and they tell us, "Hey, this is what we're gonna do."
Mm-hmm.
So I'd hand paint these things, and I was a billboard artist, and I did all kinds of crazy crap. And so we would jam at nighttime because
Right.
we were in an industrial part of Burbank. Man, there is nobody there after 5. Nobody wants to be
Yeah.
there. So
Yeah.
we had people from Michael Jackson's band, from the old Steppenwolf, from some of the Christy Minstrel people. One of my best friends, Bruce Bermudez, man, he's an incredible singer and musician, and he's
Yeah.
also a fencer, man. So we'd be painting during the day. We'd take a break, and we just start fencing. And he was good, man. He was a good fencer, and he actually
Yeah.
broke down to me how you use a foil and a épée properly and the proper grips on 'em and stuff. Because usually before that, I go pick him up, just go whatever, man. You know,
Mm-hmm.
the only way I
Yeah.
could beat him is get a wooden samurai sword in my hand. I just bend the crap out of his sword and then get him. And
So let me ask you this. And so for those of you joining us, right, this is episode 277 of the Jeet Kune Do Dialogues with Rob Roy McGregor. So now is that a Scottish name Irish
Yeah.
name. What the heck,
No,
man?
if it's MC, it's Irish, but my name is actually MAC, so it's Scottish.
Ah, okay.
Um, yeah, my family is direct descendants. I'm like, gee, Dad, thanks for the name, But my grandmother was Comanche and had Comanche and Kiowa and her stuff. She'd call me Tua Nika Wahatu. And I'm going, really? Come on, man. Just call me
Yeah.
Stu,
But,
So
yeah. But here's the thing, right?
one other.
Right. So I'm reading about your heritage and what have you, and you remind me to a certain degree, right? Because this is a JKD conversation and what have you, of a kid named Blaze Loon. Do you know Blaze?
I know the name.
Okay, right.
I'm never,
But then I'm reading about the painting and all that stuff, and I'm like, well, I wonder if you know Steve Grody.
I know who Steve is. I've never met him either.
Okay, okay, because your upbringing and lifestyle put me in mind of those two characters.
Uh, yeah.
Right? So okay, so here's the deal. Do you miss the LA lifestyle living upstate New York now?
Touchy subject.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm living in a place. It's pretty bizarre. It's beautiful. It looks a lot like East County, San Diego, where I was with my mom. Near the Mexican border. So I grew up around the bikers and the drug dealers coming across. They come through our ranch and the whole bit, man, and
Right.
through our area. And yeah, I kind of do because I was working in the film industry 60, 70 hours a week. But I was also, teaching at nighttime, and then I'd go bounce and play music, man, or whatever. So I was
Mhm.
bouncing at Club Marmont. I was bouncing at the biggest nightclub, not Hotel Utah. I was in San Francisco. It was right behind the UCLA parking lot, 4 stories. And so I was bouncing there, head bouncer, and you have all the big boys and stuff and everything, but a lot of them weren't trained. They psychologically weren't able to deal at times, So that was interesting. But yeah, I do miss it because I was, I was kind of felt like I was in my place,
Mhm.
and I was with my Korean master. I never really thought much of Korean martial arts, to be honest with you. For a long time, I tried Tang Soo, Taekwondo, everything, and
Everything.
I was a sign painter, and I'm in LA on Venice Beach Boulevard, and down Venice Boulevard across from the high school. I'm walking to work, and I got my sign kit, a box, and every morning I'm going. I see this poor little Korean guy in a suit at this window, and he's got electrical tape on it. He's got a razor blade and he's cutting out little letters. And he's trying to spell something. I'm going, oh, the poor dude, man. So I'm going, I don't know what he's doing, but he's wearing a suit and he's got dollar bills or 20s or something like in his pocket, like you would a handkerchief. And I'm going, this is a weird guy, man. I kind of like him already. So about 3 times I'm walking by, and all of a sudden I see him. He's cutting out this thing that says martial arts, and I'm going, oh, that's weird. So as I'm looking through the window, I see this guy in a suit do a spinning hooking heel kick down to a leg reap, back to a spinning heel hook in the sky, back down to a leg reap, clear across the floor, not touching that foot once to the ground.
Wow.
And I'm going,
Wow.
wait a second. Never seen that before. It was the most beautiful thing I ever seen. So I walked in and I'm going, okay, I gotta go check this dude out. His name was Soyoung Kyu. So I walk in, he runs to the back room, and there's nothing in the studio but mats and a desk and a chair. And a little Korean lady comes out and she goes, how you do? I'm in the hospital. And I'm going, okay, hi. And she goes, you interested in martial arts? I said, well, I saw him kicking. I said, I've never seen that before. And she goes, okay. So she goes, Master Soyoung come out and talk to you. I said, okay. I'm not trying to be racist. It was weird because I've never dealt with a lot of, Korean language or things. So I'm trying to be attentive, but I'm kind of weird feeling about this whole thing because I'm not sure what's going to go on. The guy comes out and he's very staunch, just behind us. And she says, he wants to know what your name is. I said, my name. What is your name? what kind of martial art do you know? And I go, oh, I don't know anything. He looks at me and goes, bullshit. And I go, oh, no, man. So I'm going, now I'm kind of in trouble. And I got my sign kit. And he goes, well, what do you do? And I said, well, see the window. You're like that. And like a dumbass, I'm like, well, I painty letter. What a dummy, like what a stupid, because I was kind of nervous. So I didn't know what to say. And like, so I go into this weird, stupid, like Western, like breakdown. Painty letter. And he goes, oh, you don't, he says to her, she says, you please perform motion. And I'm going, oh, God, I don't want to do this, man. So I said, the guy is kind of scary. I'm not sure, and I'm not too scared of anybody, but I don't know, man. The way that guy is kicking, I was thinking, I might have got myself in some crap here. So I said, I know what. When I was about 7, 8, I learned monkey boxing. Nobody knows that crap. So I get up and I'm doing the form, and I'm rolling on the floor and everything. And I get up. I got about 3/4 of the way through because I couldn't remember the rest of it. And I've never been a form guy. I hate forms. And he looks at me, just shakes his head, and he stands up and finishes the form. And I go, wait a second. I thought he was Korean. And he goes, motion. Then he goes in English, the motion not that bad. How come you not remember? I said, I don't like the form, I'm like a 5-year-old then. I don't know what he even said. I don't like the forms anymore. I don't know. I don't remember. And he goes, tomorrow you come to paint in the morning. You paint the painting. He repeated my words to me. He goes, you paint the window. I teach you. And I go, okay, but sir, I have a job. He goes, you come in the morning. You paint the painting that I teach you. Again, I repeat, I have a job and I have to work. He goes, no. Somehow, dude, this guy talked me into it. I went to work, quit, went home to my apartment, told my girlfriend, I'm going to do this. And she goes, what? And so he goes, and I told him, if I do this, everybody's going to hate me. And my girlfriend's going to tell me to leave everything. He goes, you bring us stuff in the morning, you sleep at here, no problem. And I'm going, okay. I took my conga drums, all my stuff, everything, packed my conga drums with all my clothes, drug them down the street, about 4 blocks, put them in the studio, stayed there for a few years.
What happened to the girlfriend?
I don't know. I left.
Oh my God.
Because I was kind of a karate martial arts, like a bomb, like a ski bomb guy. Yeah. Anybody that had skills, I would just go, okay, it's time. This is the time, man. This will never probably happen again. Do it if you really. So I loved it so much. I'm doing this as a kid. So I started studying with Young Q. Well, about the 3rd day, I go, so where's the rest of the students? He goes, only you. And I go, oh, come on, man. What are you talking about? So somehow he rang me into come in there. I did a little science. I did giant murals on the side of his walls that you could see on Venice Boulevard, of him kicking in the air and all this kind. It was really fun. And I studied with him constantly. And he hated forms. And he was a 9th degree black on the Kukiwan board. And he was Taekwondo, Kuksu, Hapkido, and Gundo and stuff like that, but also some weird. He was more proud of his dagger art certificate than he was all the rest of them.
Wow.
He could throw metal blanks. The guy was crazy, man. But I loved him. He had these pieces of steel about this long that were no handle on them, just a blade with a little tiny thing that looked like a top hat almost cut out, like a little pilgrim's hat on the very end of the blade. So it was one-sided. And he would put them like this in his hand. And he had like 10 of them. And they're just a piece of steel. I mean, they're raw except for the edge. And so he made me cut down palm tree slices about 1 foot thick. And we put a bunch of them, 3 at the bottom, then 2, then 1. And he would take this and he would throw it like this, but he'd push the back of the blade. So the blade would turn like this and also turn like this and stick in. So it made 1.5 and stick in it. And I'd have to take vice grips to get those babies out. So he was more impressed by every day for lunch for years. He put up a little envelope this way, and he put a square inside of it. And he goes, "You hit this inside, I buy you lunch. I hit inside, you buy me lunch." I never. He beat me every time. So he would take these and run back and forth across the studio. Boom, boom, boom. And I'd have to stand at those doggone things. And I go, "Master," and he goes, "What?" He goes, "If you hit me, just kill me. Because I don't want that into me." I said, "So just please kill me." "Okay, maybe you die." And I go, "This is really awesome, but stupid at the same time, you know?"
Right.
So, and this is funny because I was actually in the studio with him, and Danny was down the road near Sepulveda Boulevard at that time, somewhere down that area. And so,
Wait. What year was this?
oh God, this must have been early mid '70s, maybe,
So mid 70s
or earlier. Yes, because my son was born. My son was only about a year and a half, 2 years old. So it was later '70s, maybe like '76, '78 in that area.
But no, I don't think Inosano was in the Marina del Rey, Venice, Washington.
Yeah, no, it wasn't real close to that. It was more somewhere, maybe closer to Torrance. I don't know.
Yeah, 76. Inosano was in Torrance. He was
Oh,
on He was in Normandy Avenue.
that's right. You're right.
In Torrance up until 84.
Okay. I think you're absolutely correct.
Yeah, up
So
until
I heard Danny was there, and I'm going,
yeah, but
oh,
no. So
I'm
then,
gonna go check him out, man.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
go there, and he's showing an 8mm movie of Illustremio.
Illustrissimo.
And it was this little guy was like cutting the crap out of these guys with these little daggers, man. He's stepping underneath their arms, and Danny's going, "Do you see what he's doing?" And everybody's going, "No, man, I think I see what he's doing." He looks at me and he goes, like, because I kind of ninja my way into the door. It was like after the workout hours, and he was with there only about 4 or 5 guys, and somehow I kind of ninja my way through the door. And so I didn't even introduce myself. I just go, "Yeah, I kind of think I see what." And he's like, looks at me like, "Who the heck are you, dude?" And then we started talking, and I was telling him about Soyo Q. And Danny's the one that told me. He goes, "Man," he goes, "Don't leave. Stay with that guy. Get what you can from him, man." He goes, he goes, "No," he says, "I checked that guy." He goes, "There's no way you can get that kind of training."
Yeah.
So, okay. So I stayed with Soyo Q because of Danny.
Interesting, huh?
And so,
because the average martial art instructor is always trying to get people to leave another school and come to his school, right?
Yeah. I thought that was really like incredible. And of course, I knew everything about, Mr. Ronald Santos because I read everything about Bruce since he first came out, and I was with Ed Parker and those guys. And, I used to pick up Ed Parker from the airport with Jim Mitchell. And Jim was one of his students. Jim's one of the guys that does the forms. You can hear Parker in the background talking. And I was in that room for some of those. And so I was there when they were shooting it. And I think I met Master Parker when I was 16 or 17, somewhere around there. I was really young. And so, gosh, that's over 60 some years, that's all.
Right. So by the time you got to Soyoung Q, you had already gone through Kyokushin, Tracy's Kempo, Parker Kempo.
Yeah, and I was with Ark Wai Wong and Du Wai, and I studied with Buck Sam Kong for a little while before I had moved back here. But I would just find anybody, and judo guys too. There was a professor at the YMCA in Eagle Rock. Yeah, so I go there and practice judo, and so I pretty much would just go wherever I knew there was somebody. And like Jimmy H. Wu, I was like watching Sun Tzu guys, but I kind of pissed off the guys in San Diego because the guy was kind of a jerk, and he kept telling me that Wing Chun and Bruce Lee stuff was all BS, and I'm going, I didn't even know Bruce yet. I didn't have any JKD instruction other than what Teddy Lukai, and Joe Louis and those guys shared with me, which I didn't even know was really JKD at the time. I didn't really care. It was awesome, and I just loved fighting. I used to fight like almost every single day. As a matter of fact, Joe would laugh at me because he goes, "Hey, Rob, do your street thing." And I go, "What?" And he goes, "You know." And so I used to carry a mouthpiece in my back pocket and a cup. I go like this, and I pull one out and go like this. I put one down my pants, like this. I go like this, and people just go, you know, the guys on the street go, fuck, that guy's crazy. I don't want to fight that dude, man. You know, so I was actually at the beach and that happened, and the BKF guys, Chicken Gabriel, and some of those guys down in San Diego saw me doing that. They're laughing, man. I think I was the only dude they let in that wasn't of their persuasion on the beach, and I used to go spar with those boys, you know. And it was fun, man. So yeah, so I was with, you know, a lot of the older kind of guys, and so I really hated forums. And so I would practice I'd watch what people were doing. And I'm thinking, I'm already a mime and a magician. I was taking, I practiced ballet for a while because I knew ballet was really good for you. And I'd watch modern dancers and stuff. And I'm going, man, these dudes are in such they're better shape than just about any martial art guy I ever met. These guys they're like doing these bizarre hip thrusts and weird kicks and stuff clear across from over. And I mean, they were such good shape. I'm going, wow, man, I gotta look at this. So I would literally go to the libraries from 9, 10 years old and try to get every martial art book, every fencing book, every wrestling book, every boxing book, anything I could find on that, magic, mime, and take it home because I have Asperger's. So I go home and I just like lock myself down, read it, and then I start practicing. So then I started going, well, a lot of these guys know a lot of techniques, but they still suck. You know, and at 13, I was 175 pounds and 6'2".
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm 6'2" now, but I only have a 33 waist, but I'm 220 almost. You know, I'm still close to that even at 70. So I'm like, and I
want to be like you when I grow up.
I grew so fast. I think I came out of my mom just a big head, some hands and a feet. So I wear a 22 ring, you know, a pretty big ring. So when I started with do wine stuff, I would do we were doing iron palm training and stuff. And we'd slam anvils and all kinds of crap. And he taught me how to break coconuts and rocks and all kinds of stuff. And so Young Hugh would have me breaking the tops off of bottles and all that junk that looks like it's fake. You know.
Let me ask. So, can you remember? Did you train Did you train consecutively, or were you training a bunch of different places simultaneously?
Okay, so you'll know this.
I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted.
Man, I'm so hyper, man, that everybody thought I was on drugs. And the fun thing is, a chick one time put some kind of Coke or something in a drink at a party. They couldn't find me for 3 hours. I was asleep in the closet. I took all everybody's coats and made a bed. The stuff put me to sleep. You know, so obviously I have ADHD or something. So I go, I don't need that crap, man. So everybody's always asking me, yeah, dude, what do you want? I said, life, brother, let's go. You know, so I was just always hyped. My whole life, I never slept more than 4 or 5 hours a night. Just and I'd practice, you know, martial arts or music or magic or mime or puppetry or whatever I was interested in. You know, and if I was interested in it, I'd go all the way, man. I didn't never stop. I was never satisfied with what anybody told me because I just never saw it in actuated. I never saw the actuation of everything they kept telling me they could do or not do or whatever. And I'm going, I don't really believe that crap then. You know what? Look at this.
You know what? That answers the question I have not asked, which is, how did you end up with Tackett and those guys? Those guys are actuators.
So,
am I right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Those guys are actuators.
When it first came out, his Xingyi book, and I'm going, man, that's awesome, because I had started practicing combat Wu Tai Chi with Liang Ting Shuk in San Diego when I was 15, 16. I stayed with him for almost 30 years till he passed away. That guy used to be a Shaolin martial artist, got liver cancer. They told me he'd die in a year. He went and found a Tai Chi guy, practiced Qigong Tai Chi, and at 40 years age, he goes, yeah, that's that guy. Watch good life, see no cancer. And I'm like, oh, wow, okay. And so I said, well, the guy's hardcore. And I actually attacked him 3 or 4 times, man, full blast, just to see what he would do. Because I'm just going, this little turtle look, because he had a little turtleneck, and you go, and he had a little pot belly, and I'm going, man, he moves beautifully, but I don't really know if this stuff can work. So I would just jump at him, and I would go flying through the air like a cloud touched me, and I'd be laughing. And I'd smash into the walls upside down, just like a cartoon. And I'd be laughing. People go, dude, you're crazy. I go, no, man, I wanted to see I wanted to see. You know, so with Do Why, the same thing. You know, so I was practicing with these guys, and Parker, you know, personally showed me his actual real blocking methods and stuff and what he was thinking, because I wouldn't practice anything else but just getting my body completely rooted. Almost like, you know, some of the internal guys would with other things. I would do that with Kempo, and I go, I'm not going to move. I don't need a bunch of technique. Because I start realizing the white belt and yellow belt techniques or black belt techniques, they just add a bunch of crap to it. So I'm going, if you can't even do those properly at that place, how are you supposed to do it when they add a bunch of crap to it? So I would work on specifics and just keep drilling them and drill them and drill them and drill them until I could get the inside block so perfect.
Right.
If you moved 3 inches off to the left when I did an inside block, I'm not going to reach for you with that block. I would maintain my personal geometric mandala. Do Why showed this to me. Do Why said, okay, everybody has personal mandala, circles, pyramids, squares. So he showed me how, you know, if your body is right here, your hands in the center, your elbows make a circle, your hands make that circle. That circle's sort of like the Wing Chun thing, right? So it's that real tight in stuff. Then you have your elbows. So this is a circle, but it's 3-dimensional. Then you'd open his arms, long arm. That's a big giant circle. So he started showing me how you measure your own geometrical space. First. Now you start fitting yourself into that space. You don't go past your own space, because if you do, you don't have any power. You're off balance, and then you're offering yourself to the guy, right? So I practiced that really hard. I practiced, hours on these things for years, and it was absolutely true. Then I could see your personal mandala, and I go, interesting. So I'm going to blend mine to yours. As soon as I was able to do that, I could pretty much walk right into somebody, not a problem at all. And I don't run from nothing, man. I'm one of those guys. I'll bite you.
But Rob, here's the thing: if I listen to what you just said about personal mandala, and I start finding ways to incorporate that in what I am currently doing, it's not Jeet Kune Do anymore, because it didn't come from Bruce Lee. That's the argument that's going on right now.
But how's anyone to know what is in his head? I mean, come on, the guy would move. And when I saw him doing, Joe Louis used to come spar with us. And Joe didn't know how young I was. He just knew I was some big dumbass kid, you know. So Joe, he's funny, man, you know. So I'm pretty much his size and stuff, and I'm sitting with Do Why, and Do Why goes, I'll get to the tag thing, but Do Why goes, I go, hey, Grandmaster, these guys come in, they're like in their 30s, they keep saying they're going to be the carriers of the White Tiger style and stuff, and he goes, yeah, F those guys, I hate those guys. And I said, yeah, but you act like they pay you lots of money. He never charged me a cent. And he lived with me for a while, and he goes, I don't like those guys. He said, that's all they worry about. He says, you don't care about that. He says, you practice what I tell you. And I said I would. So Do Why was showing me weird striking techniques, you know, like putting up 5 bricks and putting that number in, say somebody goes number 3, and I could slap them and break only number 3, you know, or I put your stomach against a hard door, and I could slap it from the other side, and you could see a handprint on the person's stomach, you know. And I don't know if Chi's absolutely true the way most people think it is, but I think it, you know, when you learn how to properly use what you have in your own space physically and mentally, and you can
Right.
focus it that way, so these people tell me body mind spirit, body mind spirit, stay with me, Robert, I'm the sensei, stay with me for 25 years, you'll get body mind spirit. And I'm going, I just, one day I get up at 14 years of age and I take my belt off, I put it on the floor and I start to leave, and the teacher's like, what the, because he thought I was a great fire stuff for a kid. And he goes, what's going on? I go, you keep telling me the body, mind, spirit crap. And I said, I already have body, mind, and spirit. You're trying to take it from me, not give it to me.
Hmm.
So I don't like that. And he starts going this rant. And I said, well, then show me. Show me body, mind, spirit. This is like 14 years of age. He couldn't do it. He just got pissed off. So I'm going, he doesn't even know what he's talking about. So body, mind, spirit's a great thing to think of. How do you actuate that?
Right. Yeah.
So I'd say, so I started doing lots of meditation. I came up with intelligence, imagination, and intuition. Those are the three capital I's that you can use as actuators. Because if you think about it, the imagination, the intuition, and the intelligence. So intelligence could be everything from on every level, mind, body, and spirit. So I started looking at what Bruce was doing. I'm going, dang, man, he's like doing physics.
Yeah.
And so when you do, like when you do a back fist, you watch his elbow is immovable, the immovable elbow idea. Well, that's kind of like physics in a sense. So if you take a 2-foot string, you put a rock on the end of it, and I put a little piece of tubing on the bottom, and I spin it. It's going a certain rate. If I hold the end of the rope and I take that tubing and I shoot it up halfway, it doubles the speed. So that's physics. I'm going, man, that's physics. So I started breaking everything down that way from my own viewpoint, because I'm going, there's something wrong here where there's one guy can say this, one guy can say this, one guy can show me this, one guy can show me that, but not any of them are harmonized.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, well, so I was talking about that with Joe Lewis. So we're sparring. And at that time, if you remember in the 60s, they didn't really have gear.
Right.
I don't know if you ever remember the first hand gear was like this little strip. Chuck Norris, I think, came out. It was like a little strip of foam with a little thing it tied. And every time you'd fight, the thing would slip off and you'd smack the guy anyway. It didn't even work. And so where he goes, that sucks. So you look at their Campo picture, and all of us had bruises and broken bones and fingers torqued and shit. And I'm going, that's, people go, those Campo guys are crazy, man. They'll just make to fight, which we did. We don't care about that. I wanted to fight.
Yeah.
And so,
hey, why do people think that was the non-contact era?
I don't know, because it wasn't. 7 broken noses.
Yeah. That's what you'll hear the idiots talking about. Oh, well, those guys in the old days, that was non-contact point fighting. I'm like,
because they had those doggone point contests, and those didn't even go over real well sometimes. Right. I got kicked out of a lot of them. So Joe's got the headgear on, or I got the headgear on. He's pounding on me, man. It hurts, but he is showing me stuff. I'm going, this was cool, man. Oh yeah, that was cool. Oh God, yeah, that hurt like shit, but that was cool. So finally he puts the headgear on, and we're sparring, and I got so kind of irritated, I hit him with one of Dwight's strikes to the head. He just stops, takes the thing, throws it on the ground. He goes, gee, you little son, don't ever hit me like that again. He goes, what the hell was that? He went right through everything, man. I don't like. He goes, show me your hands. I show my hands. He goes, come on. He goes, come here, guys. Look at this kid's paws. So then we started becoming kind of friends. Well, he took me off to the side and gives me a piece of paper typed. Yeah, like 26, 27 things that Bruce Lee had typed up for him. And said, here, don't give it to anybody. Don't show it to anybody. I'm giving this to you. And I was like looking at it, had like, the art principles and stuff, all these bizarre kind of weird things on there that I was going, man, that's cool. So I started really investigating some of those too. And they were awesome, a lot of them, and it was talking about how you would perceive it, in a physics sense, I guess, but also it gave you the room to mentally, put it in there in a way. And so between Do Why and those guys, when And after I was with Sun Young Q, I was working at a boatyard in San Diego. I was a painter, and I was doing the graphics for on like the America Cup boats and weird stuff like that. And it was in a big. We had the biggest slip in San Diego to pull boats out with. The Navy would even come there to get their boats out. And so I was there, and I met this old lady who was getting her boat fixed, and she had some weird hippie stoner drunk guy supposedly fixing her boat and was out of the water. And this jerk takes all of her money, her tools, and everything. And I had made friends with her. She was really cool, and she was kind of like she reminded me of Ma and Pa Kettle, that old TV, that old movies with Ma and Pa. She reminded me of Ma Kettle.
Okay.
Almost smoking the cigar and talking dirty and so she's kind of funny. I liked her, and she was hardcore, So she tells me this, and I was mad, and I go, okay. So I went up to the docks and waited till about 2 a.m. in the bathrooms. Dumbass walked in, so I jacked him. I jacked him up good, man. I drug him to the boat. I said, give back, give her apologies, give her her money and her tools. I get it back. So we got it done. So a couple of days later, I see this guy walking down. It's getting dark in San Diego, and he's up by the docks, beautiful Bay Area. I see this guy with his little bimbo blondie girl. He's got a little doggy, and she's a hotsy-totsy thing, and he's got all black leathers and black biker boots and the whole bit. And I'm going, crap, and I'm starting to walk towards my boat, and he goes, "Hey, are you that guy that helped the old lady?" And I literally thought he was there to like fight me because of their dude, right? And I had my stuff in me. I just dropped him. I go, "Yeah, why?" And he goes, "Well, it's a good thing I wasn't here." And I go, "Really? Why?" And he goes, "Because I would have kicked his ass." And I go, "Really?" And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "I know. I've been practicing with JKD and stuff." And I go, "Yeah, whatever. Bullshit." I kind of said bullshit, because he didn't look like it to me really, So it turns out he goes, "Well, that was my mom." And I go, "Oh, okay, cool, man." So we started talking, and he was telling me stuff. I go, "Listen, man," I said, "I can pretty much go in the air and come down on you with both elbows or a couple of knees before you can even get anything out of your mouth." And he starts to go, "Well," and I was in the air, and I took him down sort of real fast. And so he became my best friend. And he kept telling his name was Rick Hollywood Wetzel. He's an incredible guy, man. And military guy, background, everything, the whole bit. And so we started playing, and he's going, "Dude, this stuff you're showing me is crazy stuff, man." He goes, "You got to come out to Redlands, and I go, "Why?" And he goes, "Well, it's a JKD guy." I go, "So what? I don't really care that much. It's like, what am I going to do with them, And he goes, "Well, come out," and he says, "I told him about you and everything." I said, "Okay, whatever." And it took him like a year to convince me to go. Mm-hmm. And I think the real reason he convinced me to go is he told me there was a really good bar right next to the place. And I go, "Okay." And he goes, "Well, it's Tim Tack." And I go, "Wait a second, you never told me that." I said, "I love that Shingy book." And he goes, "Oh yeah, that's whose garage it is." Like, "Oh, well, shit, man, let's go." So we started going, and that's how I met Tim and Bob. And that was in the 80s, I think, So I go, "Okay, that's awesome, man." So, I met Tim, and I was going, "Tim, I really love that Shingy book." He goes, "I think you're about one of the only 10 people that read it." I go, "That's not true, man."
That's not true.
But I said, one thing I did do to Tim is that book and Leo Fong's Continuous and Returning Fist, they both came out around the same time. Mm-hmm. And I practiced everything in those books religiously just to see if I could put them to work.
Right.
Not because of any other reason. I wanted to see if the doggone things would work. So I would practice Shingy, like Dragon Whip's tail. I can do it. And I told Tim, I can do that stuff on people. And I worked it, and I just kept doing it until it actually worked. And I figured it out. He goes, "Wow, that's maybe 1% of the guys." But I thought it was a cool stuff. So that's how I met those guys. But before that, I didn't realize that Teddy Lukai, I knew him when I was 18. Mm-hmm. And so Teddy and Joe were showing me I just June Fonda. I just didn't know.
You didn't know.
Nobody ever said it. But the Kent Parker. This is how I got to meet Danny. Is originally at 17 or 18, I met Danny in his backyard because he would let Kempo guys come in sometimes and practice. So 4 or 5 of us would come up from San Diego to Danny's backyard. And I think that was 2 or 3 times only though. And that's how I originally met Danny, So I was going, oh, cool, man. So that's how I originally met Tim and Bob. But a lot of the stuff I did came from, I was lucky enough, like Teddy called his stuff at first. He goes, my dad and I made up this stuff called stick boxing. And I'm going, okay. And he put a glove on one hand. He'd have this screamer stick in the other. He just beat the crap out of me. I'm going, dang, man, little dude's mean, And so he was showing me his stick boxing thing. I'm going, God dang it. How do you get that stick out of the little guy's hand, man? And then I realized once I took the stick, he still beat me up pretty good. And I'm going, okay, something's going on here, man.
Yeah.
So the thing, I wasn't too sure whether I would stay doing, stay doing kind of what they were showing us up. But what happened is when I first met them, I had a ponytail. And first thing that Bob Bremer looks at me and goes, he's got a handle. I said, I cut my hair that night.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I said, I ain't going to give him the handle.
Yeah.
Because I thought about it, I'm going, damn it, he's right.
You want to hear something funny? So an old girlfriend of mine down in Barbados, right? We were having the discussion just a couple of days ago. So I'm going to show you something that very few people are aware of, right? You ready? Okay, watch this.
Oh, Bob would love that.
Okay. But nobody knows because I never wear it out.
Yeah.
Right? I wear it down the back of my leg.
I was just going to say.
Right? So there is no handle.
That's what I was going to say. That I
Right?
didn't think about putting it in behind my shirt. I just got. That old man's going to rip me up, man.
Right?
And Bob he didn't really like to teach, in a group thing or nothing. He would work, one-on-one with you.
Well, I want to ask, that's something that I thought of asking you. Do you think that that's why Jeet Kune Do is not or has not been as commercially successful as other things? Because is that the built-in nature of it? It just can't be taught widespread, so to speak?
Maybe I'm just really out of it with everything everybody's thinking and talking about stuff, because I really don't get into it with all that stuff. But
Right. Because you're smart.
When we were in Danny's backyard, Bruce showed up. He was in a suit and he was going overseas to do his movie. And he was there for like 5 minutes. And he just said, he introduced himself, and he looked like a black hole walking into the backyard. I mean, it was weird. I've never really experienced that with another person before, where it seemed like energy was just being sucked right into this. Like, you're going, man, is he 40 feet tall or 4 inches tall? It was freaky, So, and his energy was intense. And he did say that he had shut down the schools. He didn't want anybody really commercializing, with the name.
Right.
If it was, he didn't really want us. And he asked us if we would not do that. And every one of us said, yeah. And to this day, those same guys, none of us have done that. None of us, because that's what he asked us to do. And we respected that in his skill set, But I think so, because Bob would tell me things like, Bruce used to call him the enforcer.
Yeah.
And say, if there's going to be somebody that comes in all macho, he told Linda, this is what I heard, I'll put Bob up against him. I'm going, oh crap. So Bob was a handful, man.
Yeah.
So,
but then that role was passed on to you in the Redlands. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So there was no certification or anything back then, but I really didn't care. I mean, I have so many black belts, so many systems that I don't even know. I can pull a lot of cars down the road with them, man. It's awesome. But what am I to do with them?
Right.
Whip somebody in the gym when they're bare butt. It doesn't really. I mean, I needed the background, the skill sets, and everything, but I wasn't really, especially at that time, worried about any certification stuff or anything, because why?
Right.
My life is too weird and broad for me to be like in just that one little thing. And plus, that's I always thought Jeet Kune Do was Bruce's expression of what he did from who he is. You know,
Hmm.
so I'm not. I don't. How can I? And it's a martial art. It's a martial art. So art is a creative, personalized thing. You know, you and I paint the
Right.
same apple, same colors and brushes. It doesn't look the same. You
Right.
know, so why? I can't. Yeah, Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo's work is beautiful, but I want to see other artists their work too. You know, I don't really.
Mhm.
They're dead, and people can copy and stuff, but it's not as beautiful as the stuff I can see somebody doing right there in front of me, like at the studio. So I had guys come in that just did some incredible stuff, man. At the movie studio, I just go, whoa, that's awesome, man. I need to learn what that guy's doing, sort of check it out and stuff. And so I don't know. I have a little different kind of opinion, but I've always been, you know, kind of on that side part. So the way I learned so much in the past was you couldn't sign up at other schools if you were at another school. Do you remember that? So if you were like
Yes.
a Japanese guy, you better not ever go sign up Korean or Kempo or whatever. So I go, that's stupid.
Hmm.
So I use three different names.
I never thought of
Oh, it's
that.
awesome, dude. So I would go and I put on the gears, a different color, different outfit, a whole bit. You know, what's really stupid is none of them ever figured out the name Rob Roy. How many freaking people have the same name in the same town? I was saying the last name, and I'm going, how stupid are these guys?
Right.
At that time, you couldn't even go to tournaments unless you were Japanese in a Japanese tournament, or a Korean tournament, or a Kempo tournament. You know,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that's
yeah,
when Harvard started doing Long Beach International stuff. So when they started blending them, I had become the best fighter in Japanese, the Korean, and the Kempo guys. Or no, Sansu, Japanese, and Korean. I was with the Sansu guys. So
yeah. Right.
I go up to, and it's a big tournament. I go, oh shit, there's everybody here. So I'm kind of nervous, right? Because I'm going, oh no, no kidding. This is God honest truth story. So I get up there. He called me up for Kempo in my division, and I'm the guy that's going to fight for that part. They call my name up. Well, they call up the Sansu guy. It's my other fake name. I
To
have to fight
fight each other.
myself. They didn't know it. So all of a sudden, I'm looking around, go, oh shit. You know, what am I gonna do, man? My eyes are like, oh, I'm bad. You know, so my bad. So I'm looking over, and the Sansu teacher's like this, and the Korean guy's like this, and I go, oh. So I look at Ed Parker, and he's freaking laughing his ass off. Guess who I ran to? I ran off the mat right to Parker. Parker puts his arm around me and goes, hey, brother, that was pretty good, but a really bad way of ending it. So I kind of didn't
Oh
go
man,
back to those other schools, really.
that's hilarious. But see,
So
that
I got kind of kicked out of the whole thing, man. Like, and then
that is,
Jimmy Woo, which like I'd seen fight in tournaments, was supposed to be point, and Jimmy would walk in and just go, boom, just cold cock him, knock him out, man.
Mhm.
It wouldn't just last more than a few seconds. Jimmy would just knock your ass right out. And then everybody be booing and everything, and Jimmy go like this, walk off the mat. And I go, dude, that's the guy I want to learn how to fight from because he don't care what they're thinking. He's fighting. He's not
Right.
playing. He's not
Yeah,
dancing. You
yeah,
know.
yeah.
And so that's why I kept going from one thing to another. But interestingly enough, the Kuksul stuff and all the different finger snaps, tendon tearing, bone ripping. You know, Duwai had me going to butcher. We had in my hometown they butchered cows, and the railroad would come up and they'd load all this stuff on. And so we went to the meat house because we had a student there that worked there at night, and they had sides of beef. And so Duwai and I and this guy, we would practice hitting sides of beef and tearing flesh off and breaking bones and doing that for a few years. And it got to the point where I could rip flesh right off you. And I used to be able to pop a raw potato, you know, in the air. You just throw it to me, I could pop it. And so I was doing flesh ripping, and then pretty soon it got to the point of going, I don't care if you hit me or you kick me. I'm going to hand you back part of your skin or your face.
Right. Yeah.
you know. And so I fought bikers, you know, and everything when I was there, and they go, dude, that guy's freaking nuts. That's what they always say about me. But it wasn't that I was nuts. It was that I don't like to play it. If you're going to play that game with me, I guess maybe I'm competitive a little bit because I ain't going to lose.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not going to lose, and I'll do what I like. If I like they like Bruce used to say, if he says he's going to bite your nose off, most likely the guy probably is going to bite your nose off if he's really wants to do it. That was me, you know, and I've never run from a fight, man. I'd run right at it. I don't care. I'll go right at you, man. And so
Did,
real fast. So
did you meet Bert Poe?
yeah,
Yeah.
Bert's though he reminded me of the same kind of stuff I was doing. I'm going
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You just reminded me of him.
yeah. And Bert passed away. I had a blues band, and Tim had us come out and we raised money for Bert's wife and stuff. And we had a couple things like that. A couple times we did that for
Nice
for
one.
the people. I think it was Sonny and Bert actually. And yeah, those guys were hardcore, man. So so I was bodyguarding. I was bouncing, bodyguarding one of the DuPont family people. You know, I was doing. I was teaching special teams for Arson Task Squad in LA, which was six-man teams. Yeah.
This is why I told you in the beginning. I was exhausted just reading your bio. What is there that you haven't done?
A lot. Well, that's the funny thing is I don't think I've done that much, but everybody goes, they go, well, you like play drums, you're an animator, you're a great artist, you do that, you do that. I go, no, man, you don't get it. I only know how to do one thing, but I can do it with everything. That's my martial art.
Wait. You only know how to do one thing, but you can do it with everything. What's the one thing? How do you describe that?
Right there, man. I don't need to be in the future or the past, man. That's why I say martial art, because I think it's one of the only things that you have to be in the now. If you're not in the now, you're missing everything. You're missing everything in music when you play. You know, there's three ways of playing music. You play for yourself, then your band members play for each other in a little group. But the third way to play is to play for everyone. So how do you build on those levels? So I was going, you know, I don't know how to be me.
Right. But this is why you cannot get into any of the current Jeet Kune Do arguments, because the Jeet Kune Do arguments are about Bruce Lee. They're not about us, right? Actuating or being ourselves or being in the now. The arguments are all about Bruce Lee and versus Ted Wong versus Inosanto in the past.
And it's such a sad waste of energy, really, in a way, because why?
Right.
You know,
right.
I mean,
yeah,
I'm a little stumped by it, to tell you the truth, because it tells me that when you're there, that means you're not yourself. You're not being authentic to you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so yeah, there's probably a million things Bruce might have done that I could never do, but he had a few things I can do. You know, but I also have a few things from Master Park. I have a few things from Do Why. I have a few things here and there, but they all seem to be part of who I can express myself with, you know? And so I don't know any other way. I mean, God bless them all, man. I mean, even the ones that pissed me off or didn't like me, you know, God bless them, man. I'm so glad that I learned a lot from the people that I didn't like, you know? And it's not because that, you know, anything else other than we probably just didn't mash personality wise. That doesn't mean they're not good or they're not great at what they do, you know? And so I would just, you know, I was one who started in rock and stuff, got picked on in school as a retard and the whole bit, man. So, you know, I was really hyper aware of any little thing around me. I was ready at any second for something to go winkety wonkety, and I'd have to go crazy on something. I mean, I just didn't trust my life at that time, so I had to get really good at what I did, or I wouldn't do it. And so that's how I kind of approached the martial arts. And I actually never paid for a martial art lesson in my life, except until I met Buck Sam Kong, and I gave him some money before I came back east, because I wanted to learn some of his Siloam. And but before that, I would just trade for signs and art and all kinds of stuff, man. somehow
Yeah.
I skimmed along, and I would actually stay back, clean the mats, anything I had to do. I didn't have money. I was poor,
Yeah.
so I was lucky. I think, that also helped me because I got to be there and be in the atmosphere of before, during, and after
Right.
what was happening. And the same thing that Young Q taught me, he say, most people maybe guy have a good looking kick when it hits you. He goes, but the beginning sucks. He goes, beginning, middle, end. He goes, start it, make it good at start, make it good at middle, make it good at ending. And so I started breaking down kicks that way. I'm going, crap, my kick sucks when I lift it. Lifting my leg, it sucks. It's so telegraphic.
Yeah.
You can see it coming a mile away. No wonder I can't hit anything. But if I kick you, it's going to hurt like hell. But most people just get out of the way.
Yeah.
They see a stupid thing coming. I'm going, dang. So I was working on little things like that most people would have said, oh, I don't know, man. I'll just.
Can I tell you something? Can I tell you something? I'm learning so much from you. I don't think I'm going to put this video up publicly. I think I'm going to keep this for myself. There's such good shit in here.
Oh, man, send me a picture of you with your arms extended out front like that, and I'll in Photoshop I'll put a physical mandala around and send it to you. With all the physical mandalas built on it in layers. It's really awesome. And it's so cool because you can drop that same mandala on the floor. That becomes your foot patterns.
Well, right. But oh man, see, so now that is a thing that we have done with the triangles, with the Escala in Kali, and we've done also in Pencak Silat with the Lankas and what have you, right? Yeah, but that's not Bruce Lee stuff. So we are in violation of some kind of Jeet Kune Do law. That's how stupid this shit is.
It is stupid, and that's why I get so upset, because they're missing so much. Like Bruce said, you're missing all the flowers in the garden.
Yeah,
one. That's so sad, man. Because how can you be you if you're trying to be somebody else?
Right.
And you'll never move. You may not have the twitch muscles he had. Who knows what your genetics are?
Exactly, because Bruce Lee never tried to be anybody but Bruce Lee.
That's right.
That's one of the biggest lessons that we should all learn from.
It's funny you say this, because I was just talking to John Kaufman, he does Wing Chun now 30, 40 years under Chu Shang Ten. One of Ip Man's number one, students. Mm-hmm. And I touched hands with a lot of Wing Chun guys, man. I kind of blew through them, to tell you the truth. And most people think that Chi Sao is only Wing Chun. Chi Sao is in many different Kung Fu systems, including long arm style. So I was learning Yao Kumun. Yao Kumun's big and expansive, but it has Chi Sao sensitivity drills. It's sort of like carrying mass and stuff, and so does White Tiger. A lot of people don't know that, so they just kind of go past. Well, I haven't learned that since Wing Chun stuff. Yeah, well, that's great. You got your sooner stuff. What about and I've had Wing Chun guys come to me and go, oh, it's hard to be a Wing Chun guy coming down and saying blah blah blah. I said, really? I said, I'll tell you what. I'll fight nothing but long arm against you. Not a problem. I don't care if they're using Wing Chun. I don't care if they're using long arm. I don't care what they're using. If they're not moving within their proper spatial parameters with proprioceptive skill sets that they built, then I'm going to take you. I can tell by the way your foot turns in or out, your toe in or toe out, which is an old Kung Fu saying. When the guy toes in, he can hit you. When he toes out, he can't hit you. He's usually defending. And so when you think of he might toe out the front foot, but the rear foot might be this way. So he can still hit you. He goes this way. It's going to be hard for him to hit you with power. So I can tell by the way their toe was turning. Duwai would show me that stuff. And I go, he's turning it out. Bam!
Yeah.
But so that's not really
right.
A form of Kung Fu. Well, it is a form of Kung Fu. And how is that really, if you want to call Jeet Kune Do very expansive, then that's in Jeet Kune Do. But if you want to really pin it down, none of it is. But yet Jesse Glover said that Bruce was really interested in internal styles when he first came over, and that he was really working on stuff. And when he went back to Chu Shang Tim was touching hands with him, and that's when they said, "Shit, man, you've grown. You know,
Right.
your internal stuff has grown, man." So I don't know why they say that Bruce never studied internal stuff or anything, why he didn't have that mindset. I think that's bullshit. Uh,
I think that I from a little bit of stuff that I've heard Sifu Dan say, I think that he wanted to present himself as like that cool cat, and that internal stuff might not have been cool. You know what I mean? Right. So
Plus,
you
I
keep
think
that on the back burner.
his he's kind of like me in the sense that I don't give a crap about the other side. I'm just going to hit you.
Right.
So if
Yeah.
you could come down to that, I mean, Archie Moore taught me some boxing when I was a kid. I was 17, 18, and his grandson was my friend. I
Uh-huh.
didn't know that was his grandfather. So he takes me to San Diego and he goes, "Come on, man, let's go see my grandfather." I was like, "Whatever, dude." We're just hanging around. So we go over there and I'm looking at this pool and it's a boxing glove shaped pool. And I go, "Wait a second. Archie Moore's got a boxing glove shape." He goes, "Yeah, that's my grandpa." What? So
Hilarious.
Archie comes out, he's watching me teach Kung Fu to his grandson, right?
Uh,
And Archie goes, and I think I was doing like a cannon upper punch or something, and Archie just shaking his head, "Come here." Bam! Dude, it hurt bad. That old guy showed me how to uppercut and do cannon punches. Like I can't tell you, man. He was good, and even at that age, really old, man. That guy, he moved well.
mhm.
I was going, "Dang, man, I'd hate to fight that dude in the ring." That's
Yeah.
scary shit, man. And
Yeah.
I think he probably cracked my ribs. It hurt for a while, and he barely. I don't even think he even hit me full. He just
Mhm.
boom.
Yeah.
I'm going, "Damn, Archie." I'm
Yeah.
going, "Can I use that?" He goes, "Oh yeah, it's yours,
Yeah.
man." Okay.
I heard Adam Chan say recently that if you're a martial artist and as you're getting older, you don't get involved in the internal stuff, you're wasting your time. What do you think?
Um, I think that's a saying to me. That sounds like somebody who is trying to figure out why he's doing it. Maybe I'm not
Mhm.
sure because I was told by Duwai who did internal stuff, but he goes, "You do internal soft style lead to hard style lead to soft style." You say
Mhm.
if you learn proper. He says, "So what difference?" So I go, "Okay." So when I was studying with Liang Ting Shuk, who is Tai Chi, um, I think that was probably one of the best things I ever studied.
Uh,
And he told me, he said, "Listen, Rob," he goes, well, he didn't. I speak a little Mandarin. He couldn't speak hardly any English, but he was telling me that if you start Tai Chi or internal style when you're young, he says it's a building energy in a battery. And he says when you get old, then you start using the energy from that battery. I have to say, at almost 70, with no fat belly or anything else, man, I think he's right.
uh,
And my chi now is my energy is so different that I was at Keith Allen's with Tim Tackett. Tim said, "I'm going to do a seminar up there," and I said, "Okay, I'll come
uh,
meet you." Because
nice.
I'm originally from California, so I went to Jersey to Jim McCann's place down there. Who's, by the way, Jim McCann, dude. That guy is hardcore.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing, and he's got Mick Thornton with him. And I think they opened a new place, Primal Gym, down in Jersey.
Mhm.
Those are the guys that go check out for some really good stuff, man. And so I was with Keith Allen and Tim Gillette, and up there. And so Keith was awesome, man. He and I got along immediately. He was with Vunok for a long time,
Right.
and so I I did some kind of a grabbing of like he tried to do something, but I reversed the grab and grabbed his wrist and started to do a technique, and he just kind of like fell to his knees. He goes, "Dude, what the is that?" He goes, "It felt like you shocked me with 220 volts." And I go, "Yeah, because I can see your energy, kind of. I've been doing it so
Mhm.
long that I can see your energy, kind of in a sense, and I kind of tune myself to that crystal at that moment. So if you're bouncing around at 445 hertz, I kind of go, I go to 445 hertz. Now I'm at neutral point with you. How are you going to read me? I'm now at your neutral point because you're already vibrating around there. You're like, oh. So I just go into it. I'm your neutral point. As soon as you move at me, I tune it up or down.
Right.
I take it.
Fascinating.
So once I do that, I can, and I do the, emotion and I take it, I can see their bodies falling apart right there. So I don't even give it one hesitant second to go into some other little BS. I just start wrapping you up and taking you and twisting you and tearing you and going, and so Keith was really interested in that stuff, doing it, learning that kind of energy attunement.
Yeah.
And I think there's so many higher levels, man, that people don't get, that come from the old school stuff that they think is BS, man.
Yeah.
And okay, well, maybe it's BS. How do you know what you're saying is not BS? Why don't you just take some time and contemplate and look and actually drop your own ego,
right,
and say, okay, maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe I'm completely right. Let's find out.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Well,
so,
it's real hard. It's real hard to stay constantly open-minded and open-hearted.
Yeah, that's why I went back to saying that, to me, what I liked about martial arts and got me to stop stuttering, I could hardly talk to people, man, unless I really liked something when I was young. I couldn't even look at people's eyes. I'd be like, it was like, it was like the movie where, like, I'm not wearing any underwear. I'm not wearing any underwear. That kind of thing, people, what the fuck's wrong with that dude? But I'm not stupid. I had a hard time dealing with it. It was like a Harry Potter movie. Somebody would say something and all these things would start flying around in my head that they're talking about. And then I go in a room and I go, man, I really don't like this room. I'm out of here, man. And other ones, it was like, I'm going, dang, look at all that cool crap, man. That's bitching, I'm going to learn this shit. So I would kind of, maybe I just looked at things a little different. I don't know. I really don't know. All I know is that there's some deep kung fu principles that I know is in Jeet Kune Do. I've seen it. I've asked Bob and people. They don't even know, I think, if I was even asking that question or something. I would just ask them out of the blue things. So I'm playing with Bob one night. Ah, fuck. So and I guess Bob's saying Bob would tell me that Bruce, every time he came in, what he showed you the time before was not even the same thing anymore. It was something different every time. It just kept going so fast, Bob says, I could never keep up with it.
Mm-hmm.
It was changing so fast and everything, And so Bob said that his thing was to be a jammer and get in, close in fight and just, he's a beefy dude, man. He gets in there and just like chew you up. Some guys, they have to jump around their feet like Ted Wong and stuff, and get the heck out of the way of a guy like Bob, but they can deliver. It's just that was their, so he would teach, Bob told me that he would teach people what they needed to learn by what he would see. And Bob showed me the blue cards, Bruce. He gave me one. The blue cards that Bruce would mark off specific things like a jab, a kick, and he would mark them off and find which ones you need the most and keep those little records and work with you on those things. So Bob's doing the same with me, and he's going to show me the obstruction kick. And so he's real close to me. And I'm thinking, okay, I can feel where his energy sort of, I'm not going to because I kind of figured out a cool technique against the obstruction technique. And I'm thinking, I'm going to use this because it worked against almost everybody else. And I'm thinking, I'm going to try this on Bob. Shit. So Bob's like, all of a sudden, I got my hands up almost like Chisao, and all of a sudden, I can't move my hands up. I can't move my hands down. I can't move them left or right. I can't move. He shut down all 4 gates.
Wow.
And I've never had a Wing Chun guy, anybody do that to me. I was so like blown away. I go, Bob, what the hell is that? And he leans over whispering, and he's like, if you know Bob, he's like, he goes, Bruce showed me that. And I'm going, oh, fuck. So nobody knows what the fuck they're talking about.
Right.
Because if you could shut somebody down like that, then all the other stuff that comes even from that point on is just superfluous and it's just fun shit. I've just shut your body down, man. And so I
Yeah.
worked on that for a long time and did a lot of thinking, a lot of working on it. And I can kind of do it now.
Wow.
So I can shut down a person's, energy lines and stuff. But it's not really some chi thing or something else. It's, I was originally doing becoming a medical technical illustrator, and at 13 I was doing charts for doctors. They didn't know I was 13. My doctor was selling it to other doctors. And they finally they go, we need this, we need that. And he goes, God damn it, he's only 13. Leave the kid alone. And I go, what are you talking about? He's 13. Like, do these? And they go, how does he know where everything goes? And he goes, because he's smart. And I delivered him and I gave him books to read. I'm going, that's so awesome. So I did really well.
Yeah.
That's why I was an animator and all that stuff, because I know anatomy, I know motion and walking
Right.
and mind work.
Right.
And like walk cycles are a big deal when you're an animator. If you can't do a good walk cycle, either drawing or stop motion or 3D, you'll never be a character animator. So you have to study.
Okay.
When we were working Disney stuff, we'd go down and sit at the malls and draw pictures of people walking and stuff just to get their feel of the specific kind of a feel, so you can give this emotion.
Right.
But you could also see, as a martial artist, I go, oh yeah, well, if I was going to fight that guy, I'd kick him in the calf, and that way he would drop. If I was going to fight that guy, I would just tweak his nipple or something. I mean, you could see what you could get really good at seeing where their break in the link was.
Uh-huh.
That's where I'd go.
Is that stuff for Disney that you just described? Is that what they do with motion capture video now? Is it?
No, they try to do that, but still, the old animators. I mean, I'm kind of sad that they've gotten rid of some of the old animation techniques because they're kind of sloppy now. And my grandfather actually worked for Disney when he first was starting out, and so that's who taught me how to draw and play drums. He was also a big band drummer, and so I learned. That's where I was learning some of that stuff. So I was lucky to come in a really big family that had a lot of talented people, and so I listened to all the old people. A lot of people in my family don't even remember. I don't know. I never talked to them. I don't remember everything. I'm like, what the hell? Our uncle and our grandfather and this person knew this and this and that. Really, I don't know that. And I'm like, oh my God, you never listened. So I thank God, and I learned that stuff. But yeah, it's really weird. So the thing about when I was with Bob and Tim, the reason why I stayed was I didn't really have any issues or problems working with those guys or defending myself. What it was is that at that point I was really, there was broken links in the way that my techniques would work. So I could do long kicks and hit you with a long kick, but what about bridging that kick to a punch, to maybe a wrist, break or something? Well, there'd be these hiccups. And so, like, if people are trying to do like wrist technique, like Aikido and stuff and everything, you have to kind of like get in there and, well, give me your wrist and let's do this. It's like, how do you work to get into that thing in full combat motion? And so I've never been able to really bridge those. And this is the truth. I don't think I've even told anybody hardly this. I felt really insecure about that. Like, yeah, I have all these things I've studied, but there's some hiccups that I don't like. And I've never been able to find those bridges yet. And Tim showed me how to see. The best thing that I ever learned from Tim, Bob, basically was, Tim's an incredible teacher, but he taught me how to see.
Right.
And then he goes, my job is to teach you how to see the bullshit. And Tim. So that's why we call him the most dangerous librarian in the world. Because he does this thing.
Yeah.
And
I'll tell you. It's if you are not genuine in your approach, it will be very uncomfortable to be around Tim Tackett.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Right? if you're trying to hide behind, and that's the great thing about the Wednesday night group, no bullshit. It's like, right, if you're not straight up, it's not the place for you.
No, it's not. And that's why I said Jim McCann, Nick Thornton, Dennis Blue. To me, Dennis Blue
Yeah,
is probably one of the most dangerous, scary son of a guns there is. That man he's good.
yeah.
He's
Your
very,
picture, your picture, in the blue thing reminds me of Jeremy Lynch for
oh,
some reason,
yeah, Jeremy's good too.
right?
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
Jeremy's one of those plays, man. I used to hate that. You could kick from 10 feet away and hit you. I'm like, I hate that when those guys.
yeah. This picture, for some reason, that picture reminds me of Jeremy Lynch.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those guys are really good. There was a guy there. I think his name was Lou or something. That was a wrestling guy, JKD guy. And the night I was leaving to move back here, I went and saw Tim out Wednesday, my last time. And they were doing some ground pounding wrestling stuff. And to tell you the truth, I'm not really a ground guy. I mean, I've wrestled as well stuff, but I just don't want to do it. I don't want to go to the ground. I'm gonna bite you and tear you apart before I get to the ground because I just hate going. I don't like sweaty people on me, and so I'm just not into that, And so he's trying to show. I'm laying on the ground. He's trying to show some stupid technique with foot twists or something, right? And I wasn't reacting to it because what I did is I just melded my body into the floor and he couldn't move me. It was like rooting. And so I just like relaxed, man. I just went like I smoked 10 joints. I just like, okay. And he couldn't move me, right? I'm like 10,000 pounds. So he got so frustrated, he took my 2 middle toes and cracked them. And they snapped and I looked up at him and go, so that's it? And he was so pissed off and frustrated. Dude, I had to drive all the way back to New York from Los Angeles with broken toes. Like, that jerk. He still didn't do anything to me, though. He just broke my 2 toes. So what? I broke all my toes many times. So well, that wasn't too effective, But maybe it is somebody else, but it didn't work on me too. It just pissed me off,
Yeah.
And a couple times people would be there and like show up and a couple times people would just reach out and just smack me trying to show off to Bob. Like a couple times they hit me right in the head with a jab or something. I just look at him, I look at Bob, goes, "It's my turn now." And Bob goes, "No, Rob." Okay, it's my turn. And so, and I made a really bad statement all the time. So Tim and Bob would shut the garage door, and kick everybody out, and then it became the old man's club, he called it. So if you're a certain age or a certain martial art background,
right,
it became old man's club. So then the real stories would come out, so a couple beers, the whole thing, and I'm sitting there one night and I'm thinking about the bougie, right, the finger strikes, and I'm thinking, how many times people try that on me, and I'm thinking in my head, and all I do is lower my head, and they break their fingers on my head as I bite them or something, right? And I'm thinking, I'm not too sure about that, And so I said that to Bob. I go, "Hey, Bob, I'm not too sure about that finger poke, because every time somebody's done it to me, I've kind of busted their fingers with my head. I have a big giant cranium. I'm Scottish, got a cranium like Sputnik, so, and I didn't know a time would just, fold up, and I'm such a dumb shit. So I think I picked up my beer as I'm saying that, and I'm starting to take a sip, and all of a sudden I look over and Tim Tackett's got Bob's hand in his hand. And Tim goes, "I just saved your ass, dude." And he hit me with one. And just he was boom, just poked me with it. And I go, "Oh shit." Not a good question to ask, Bob. Right. So I didn't really mean it in a weird, I didn't mean to insult him or anything. I just thought it was, I really never seen it work on the street. I mean, I've had tons of street fights. I've never seen anybody use it on the street and have it work. But they probably didn't know how to do it right anyway. So it was a question, but it was kind of a stupid question in the scene time. To this day, I just thank Tim so much. I'm thinking, thank God, Tim. Thank God you like me, man. Even
Right.
a little bit, I don't know, but thank
Yeah.
God. But
Yeah.
yeah, but I absolutely learned how to bridge my stuff because of Jeet Kune Do. That is the reason why I absolutely was sold on it,
Hmm.
because all of a sudden I could get the grasp, I could break the finger, I could get everything at any time, any place I wanted, and it seemed like all of a sudden it all just came together.
Right.
And that was something I had been searching for 30 years or more. I mean, I've been doing this stuff since I was what, 8 or something, and so that's like 60 some years. So when I met them, I'm in, my 30s. I'm going, man, I still can't get that crap to work. And so they taught me a lot of stuff like that. And I even, I met Mark Stewart when he was down in his Los Angeles Chinatown place,
Uh-huh.
and
Uh-huh.
it was, I love Mark, man. He's awesome. And he knows what he's doing. And
Yeah.
that was fun too, so,
Yeah.
because, Teddy Lukai was a great guy, man. He was a sweet man. And, but yeah, so I have a little different way I approach stuff, because I don't really think that just physicality is one thing, the mental part is one thing, the spiritual part, to me is one thing, but all those are, how do you say those things in a way that can be used?
Hmm.
So I learned to root myself. What do I would stand in the yard for hours doing nothing but breathing and rooting. And one day I remember, I go, okay, well, if you root down a couple feet in the ground, what happens if you root to the center of the earth? And so I just imagine it, I started imagining and letting my body go. And once I hit the center of the earth, dude, I almost passed out. I felt like I was spinning as fast as a top. It scared the crap out of me, man. I dropped down to my knee. I'm going, what's going on, man? Like, am I having a stroke or something? It was weird. And
Yeah.
I was pretty young. I was probably 18, 19. And I'm going, man, this is crazy. So I started pulling my energy up. And I got to about 18 feet and I was solid. So now I dropped my group 18 feet in the ground, which completely releases my feet or my upper body. So I'm the mediator between heaven and earth. That's what a
Wow.
human is, basically. That's why we have these spiritual gifts and stuff and these things. And, like
Yeah.
beautiful guys like Bob Marley. So we want to have that mediation,
Yeah.
and that way we can like connect in a way, and we all become mediators, like things. So I was going, how do I do this? So when I got myself to 18 feet in the ground, then all of a sudden I became so light. I was extremely quick on my feet. It was because I was free of the weight, but yet I was connected in such a way that I can post myself. A lot of people say post yourself. Well, what does posting mean? I was taught that posting is at any place in a stance is a transitory position.
Hmm.
Nobody walks around at a horse stance. Nobody walks around even in a Jeet Kune Do stance. That's a transitory position, another thing.
Hmm.
So I would say, okay, what about all those degrees in between standing neutral and then stepping into, say, a twist stance? What about everything in between? So I would start practicing to feel posted at every single degree in those points. So I've had guys even try to push me over when I'm moving quick, and I got both feet together, and I'm in a little tiny ball, like a small phasic bent knee position,
Right.
and knock me over, man, because I'm rooted, and not only am I rooted, but I'm now posted, and
Hmm.
I'm posted in my own body into the earth, and released. It's like I move. So it's a
Yeah.
weird concept, but it's a real one for me.
How, when you were younger, how did you guard against overdoing, against becoming so obsessed that you would overdo stuff to the point of exhaustion? I mean, because it sounds to me like you had to have some kind of a governor, otherwise you should have gone crazy by now.
Oh yeah, that was that's a good question, because I never felt that way.
Mm.
Never felt that way. The more I did, the more energy you got, the more better I felt.
So
So I
that's why it's That's why it's 4 hours.
Everybody, dude, I can't tell you how many guys I go or practice, and then they go, "Hey, Rob, you can't come over anymore." And I go, "Why?" They go, "My wife or my girlfriend doesn't want you to come anymore because every time you come over, you know, they don't spend any time with them." And I'm going, "Oh crap, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
dude." And they'd be like really bummed out, but I'd be like going,
Yeah.
screw it, man, let's, I
Yeah.
don't care, I'm gonna do it anyway. No, I never felt that way, man. It's a funny thing. It's like because I think I was doing not just one kind of thing physicality. I was doing the breathing stuff, but I was also trying to make sure that whatever I did was just what needed to be done,
Uh-huh.
not any more than that, but enough to make it be powerful. So, like, dude White taught me. He goes, "Okay, bony surfaces. How do you hit them?" He says, "What happens if you're?" And then you got soft stuff, stomach, muscles on the thighs, maybe the throat, whatever. So how do you hit them? And he says, "So how do you hit them when they're moving?" So it's one thing to say, "Do this with reverse one, hit it, and you got it." Right? Well, yeah, that's real pretty and stuff, but nobody's going to stand there and let you do it most of the time if they're, a decent fighter. They're going to be moving.
Mhm.
So what happens when you're hitting a soft area and you have this concept of how to hit a soft area, but all of a sudden it becomes a hard area because they move 2 inches
They
down.
move. Right.
And so I started learning that, and Parker taught me the same thing, that as soon as my fingers would start to touch, my fist would form and make. I never made a fist until it touched you. So either you could go into a phoenix eye fist, whatever. I didn't need to worry about it. And so once I started doing that, so I could get my proprioceptive skill down set where I could just touch you. I could feel whether it's hard or soft, even in that moment, and I could change the technique or whatever it had to be. Well, so I started thinking about this more. What he said, I started meditating on. I go, wait a second. So like a glass, if I push through with a thrusting motion on a glass, it just pushes it off the table and it hits the ground. Maybe it breaks. But if I take a little, like in that little string with the rock on it, and I whip it, it's going to shatter that glass. So I started going, okay, if I whip a water bed, it doesn't do a crap to it, But if I drop my whole body weight into it and thrust through it, right? So then I started thinking, okay, so I need to learn how to properly hit the target with the proper energy, the proper fist, the proper timing, the proper feel, the proper mindset, the proper breath and everything. So that's what I would practice on, things like that. So if I touched your jaw, I'm going to crack it. I can't tell you how many guys like collarbones, stuff. When I was bouncing, it was really scary. I got to the point where I wouldn't even touch anybody anymore because I would put my hand on them and drop it into like a palm by accident and it would crack.
Mm-hmm.
It would be just touching him, just crack me. I go, oh crap! I just broke his collarbone. So it was really scary because once I started doing it, it was like I couldn't undo it. So I don't even like sparring with people anymore because I don't want to hurt anybody, man.
Right.
I like everybody, and I like all the martial art guys. I don't care what side. I like all the dudes, man. I don't have anything really against any of them.
Mm-hmm.
They're all on the same path, And so I got nothing but love for them. But it's if you can't throw your tools and be able to change that up as you're doing it and stuff, then I'm seeing that you're still haven't got to a level of where I would consider you deadly in combat. How are you going to do that? If I just raise hands or if I, bump my stomach out and stop the kick,
Right.
That's what people throw kicks at me and I just step into the kick and their ass hits the ground. And I'm going, I post myself, kick hits and they go on the ground. I go, what the fuck was that?
Mm-hmm.
The guy goes, dude, it's like kicking a pylon. Well, yeah, but why are you kicking it like that? Why are you,
Right.
So those, I guess, I'm kind of like simple-minded, and I'm kind of simple-minded in that sense. That I don't make more of it than what it is. I just kind of see where it needs to, what happens, what it needs to do, and I start working on that. Like the hammer principle that Bob showed us,
Right.
Man, that is not easy to get down. You
No, it
know,
isn't.
it's so extremely. Um, it's such a proprioceptive skill that you need to work on over and over and over to become what it needs to become. But then
Right.
again, there's times when it's like it's like having you haven't eaten in 2 days. You're walking across a doggone forest or desert, and you see an apple tree, and you see the apple hanging. You go, dang man, an apple! I'm hungry. You're not going to dance around and do a whole set of katas of crap and then pull the apple off. You just reach out and grab that sucker, man, and start chomping. So that's kind of the way I think. I want to have that where I just reach for the apple and take it. I don't want to play out of that bullshit, man.
Right.
So it's like, how do you distill it down to something that yet becomes everything?
Yeah.
It's kind of a cool thing, So,
Yeah.
um, you know, that's why the mandala thing was so important because I would come up. Then I started learning that pretty much in defense, anything that happens with an animal. My uncle's got an elephant preserve in Arkansas. It's got 13, 14 elephants on it. So we worked with elephants when I was growing up. We had a pet tiger, a Siberian, that I rolled around with in a couple of Disney films. I had 2 wolves. We had stuff like that, right? And so after wrestling with tigers and a grizzly and stuff, dude, nothing scared me in a tournament. I'd have guys, go, really? And I'm thinking, wrestle a tiger, man. I remember this dude walking around telling everybody in the back room, yeah, I'm going to beat you. He's like, it was his thing, right? And pretty soon I go, dude, have you ever wrestled a tiger? And he goes, no. He goes, I have. We had a pet tiger. He goes, shit, man, you just blew my whole thing. I thought, man, I like that guy. That's but it's if you wrestle something that's real, like a tiger, you're going, oh shit, man, the thing put his mouth right around my whole head. Thank God that tiger loved me. I love GT, but yeah. So I learned that animals all do protect their center line, and they curl up. They want to protect that center, the point within the center theory. So I try to always, if there's no way you can walk around at a stance or anything else, but you can come from the point within the circle out. You can come from the point out. And so I always make sure that my defensive technique, if I have to have one, is coming from the point within the circle first. Because then I know, even if my hand's here and you punch me in the chest, it hits my hand. But if I'm here and you're coming at my chest, I'm going, inward block, outward block, they're good things. But if you're not moving your feet, they suck.
Right.
You can't just stand there. So you got that point within the circle. You just kind of come from that point within the circle and you go for it, So you come from a point of already a primal place.
Yeah.
That's already you.
Yeah. All right. On that note, I hate to do this, man, but I got to let you go. Listen to me. Listen to me. This has been utterly fascinating. I really hope that people have been listening to what you've been saying. I really hope they've been listening.
Well, I would love to talk to anybody, man.
Yeah. How it is. All right. Quick word. How's the wife?
She's doing much better. She's trying really hard. She's Italian. She's tougher than me. I don't know how I would do if I had a stroke, So she's 15 years younger than me. So, but she's tough, man. And she tries so hard that everybody, PT, OT, doctors all said, man, we've never seen anybody work this hard at it. So all my background has helped, I was a certified raw for, body work and stuff. So everything you learned has
a place. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Listen.
God bless her. And listen, thank you, all of you guys, man. And I know I kind of come off weird to a lot of people, but there's nothing I was saying that I can't do.
You're my kind of guy.
Yeah. So God bless everybody in the JKD guys stuff, and I want everybody to be okay, but I just don't want to see it go the wrong way, and I don't think I can ride that pony.
Yeah.
That's not me.
Thank you so much for agreeing to do this.
Oh no, really, thank you. I mean, I'm
really appreciate it.
Very blessed for you. I mean, who the heck am I? I'm just some old jerk, sitting at some house in the country, man. Who knows?
Yeah, but you're one of those the acres of diamonds in the JKD world that we have right under our feet that we don't, that we don't realize and we don't know about. So it,
No, thank
it's,
you, brother.
it's, man, I,
Please
I,
don't be afraid to call me anytime. I really like you, man. I'd love to talk to you anytime. So
okay. All right. I will do that. All right. But I'm going to let you go now. All my best to the wife. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk again for sure.
okay, and
All
to
right.
anybody that was listening, thank you for listening to old man speak.
I'm
Take care.
telling you, man, if they came with the right mindset, they will walk away from this conversation with a ton of information.
Oh, well,
Seriously.
that's very kind.
Seriously.
Yeah,
Right?
I wish that for the that's I love this art and I want to just do nothing but
Yeah.
promote the healthiness in it. So thank you.
All right, my friend. All right, you take care.
Okay, you too. Bye
All
bye.
right. Okay, bye. So how people throw around the word awesome, right? Awesome doesn't even do anything for that company, right? Man, that was amazing. That was amazing. All right, so you guys know the deal. That's it for today. Feel free, share, like, comment, ask questions. I'll ask Rob to take a look at anything that he needs to answer. Follow me on Twitter at Dwight Woods and on Instagram at Dwight D Woods. At paypal.me/unifiedma Miami. The Jeet Kune Do Journey Volume 1 is available. Thank you, Red Tiger, for picking up a copy of that. paypal.me/unifiedma Miami. At where is it? Let me get my stuff correct here. Okay, at jkdrebel.com, click on the Rebel Gear link. That's where you find stuff like this, the Jeet Kune Do Rebel Jeet Kune Do Rebel JKD notable t-shirt, also available coffee mug and all that good stuff, right? Also a bunch of different coffee mugs and all that stuff, right? On Wednesday we will have another issue of the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcast. The thing is, Friday heading up to Atlanta. A bunch of us from South Florida are going up to the Train with the Masters seminar up there. So as of right now, plan to do something else at 6 p.m. on Friday the 22nd, because I might not be with you. Right. But until the next episode, this is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Do Rebel, signing off. You guys have a great weekend. Stay safe. Talk soon. Take care.